So with the arrival of Aberration, it turns out in the patch notes, Wildcard mentioned that Reapers now scale with player level. And that got me thinking, is this possibly something that could be quite frankly ridiculously OP? Let's find out. You're right kids, it's Raasclark and we're here on Aberration with a Reaper trapped already, as you saw in the intro. This trap you may find very familiar. It's based on Captain Fat Dog's ASE Reaper trap design, which actually still works for ASA. I managed to lure this in absolutely fine. The only thing to note is these three triangle ceilings, and there's another three over here on this side, are actually one wall lower than they are on the ASE trap design, and that's it. The trap still works, so it's worth doing, so let's give this a whirl. If you've never been impregnated by a Reaper before, this thing definitely isn't a friendly thing indeed. You want to get out the hazard zone ideally. You can do this in the hazard zone, but absolute painful for you if you choose to. And you're going to need to emit some charge light on it. Not this normal light like you can see from this one here from the Bob's pack. Actual charge light, which you can use with a light pet, but you can use plant species Z fruits to do as well. And that's all we're going to do. Okay, so we've got a level 5 Reaper. The lowest of the low. Maybe actually worth testing with, right? That's got no points in nothing apart from one in food and one in weight. So let's begin. There we go. As you can see, the shard light's going off, and we're just gonna hit it. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, and eventually we will notice the reduction wear away. There it is. Let's try again. Can't believe this has 45k health despite it being level 5, which is insane. And we want to get its health down to 10%. We'll get it down to 1 to... There we go. Let's buy some time. Now we're going to turn this light off so we can see what's going on. There we go. Beautiful. And now we should see a pink aura around our Reaper Queen. And we don't. Why do we not see any pink on this thing? Alright, well, we'll move up to it. For some reason, we're not seeing pink right now. A shield's super handy. Oh, I do see some pink there. Oh, these aren't as obvious then to tell. There we go. And it was just the animation. Jump up and it'll grab us and impregnate us. There we go. We are pregante. Right, and we're off. Obviously, you can see I've got some very, very quick timer here. That Reaper is going to remain in that trap for me, which is fantastic. And you can see now there's a timer to get XP, to get all of the levels that you need on your baby offspring Reaper that's about to be bursted out of your chest. You get it by getting general XP, which transpires onto your Reaper. And all you want to do when you're ready to give birth is make yourself a bit of a birthing chamber. I've got one here, as you can see. Wait for your belly to grow. And make sure you have nothing on you but raw meat. This is how it used to happen in ASE. I hope it still happens the same way in ASA. We're about to find out. Right, there we go. Baby's being birthed. There it is. Beautiful. Level 80. And claimed. And it should hopefully kill me. And take the meat off my body. And it should hopefully kill me now. There we go. Beautiful. And now it should have harvested the meat off my body. And then we'll just respawn back at the bed. Fingers crossed. Oh, the Reaper is still there, which means multiple births are still a thing with Reapers. Fantastic with the same Reaper. So obviously, if you get a high-level Reaper, you're in for an absolute win. So all we got to do now is wait for this thing to grow up to adult and see what this player influence skill levels are all about, right? Once it's hit to juvie stage, by the way, you are now safe to allow this thing to walk around. It won't kill you anymore. And look, as you can see, all of that meat I had on me is now in the inventory of my Reaper. Considering this was birthed from a level 5 Reaper, it's still got a base 10k health and 243 melee without even imprint. So let's let the magic of time pass. And after a 1, a few more maybe. The Reaper is still attacking, which means we can definitely get ourselves impregnated, which is fantastic. And there it is. Done. Imprinting, giving me 18k health. A giant increase, it feels like. And 290 melee. Now, riding it, looking at my stats, noting that I've done everything. I've ascended on all 3 maps, Island, Scorched Earth, and Manticore. I've got the Chibi levels, and the Explorer notes, and the Bob's Tall Tales notes from Scorched Earth, and the Bob's Tall Tale notes from Aberration, giving me a max level of 155. Right. What's my melee? And my melee is on 105 right now. Let's see if that reflects anything. 290, 18. Let's have a look. Is there any buffs on this thing? I've got an idea. So let's cryo this up, and this time we'll do this very dangerously with a mind wipe. Let's go level 50, right? Again, if you don't know, shield is absolutely paramount with this stage. There we go. And we are impregnated again. Oh, dudes. Multiple pregnancies can still work in ASE. That is gold. Right, you done. And you are level 78. Okay, so I definitely did get the 75 levels, which is really, really curious that this one has popped out at level 80 and that one is level 78. Why would this be 2 levels lower? So over here, we've got the level 80 with 12 points in health. Over here, 18 points in health on you. And the melee's got 20 and you got 8. And that's just the spin of the roll. So I'm not seeing anything reflective of my player level here right now. Let's test it with the max level, because I'm not seeing much of a difference with these two. We have a 150 Reaper there with just as much health, which is interesting to know. Doesn't matter what level you go for, you kind of pretty much taking down the same amount of health, no matter whether it's level 5 or level 150. It's really hard to distinguish the pink glow now. Hopefully that's something Wildcard might patch in. I feel like that's got to be a mistake. It's like you see like a tiny pink glow there, but that's about it. There we go, and we're off. It popped out at 227. Now that is fascinating. Why did you pop out at 227? So with imprint on top, this one is kicking out some fairly decent stats. 25k, 431. Doesn't feel like it's any different. Okay, so let's give this max levels then and see if there's anything here that we're missing. I mean, it's a boss Reaper, but I'm not seeing any difference here. Oh, man. Okay, this time we're going to try this with an actual level 1 Bob and see if any difference is made. There we go. Pop out. So this pops out at 165. That's super interesting. So there we go. It's not a buff. It's the opposite entirely. It's a nerf. Wow, wow, wow. So in order to get the maximum 75 levels that you should get on a Reaper now, you need to be leveled. This certainly changes a perspective on Aberration. The question is, of course, how many levels? Do I need to have exactly 75 levels in order to get 75 levels? Let's find out. Okay, because I was level 50 to get the level 78, not the full 75 levels, I was shy by 2 with a level 50 character. Let's try it with a level 65 character, just to see if you don't have to be 75. 174. Wow, okay. It could quite possibly mean you do need it all. But there seems to be a variable then, because that wasn't 178. It was less. The plot thickens even further. So, we've established something new. Because obviously, I did it with a base level 5, and now I'm doing it with a 150, right? That only got 24 levels. Which means using a mind wipe doesn't reflect this test at all. It is based on the levels you're getting, 100%. And even 65 levels doesn't get me anywhere near the 75 levels I should get. There's definitely a variable here. But either way, you need levels. You need more levels. This is me at level 75. It's a bit shame it's misleading though, isn't it, in the bottom right? They should really change that and reflect that. Hot damn. So I got 29 levels being level 75. Okay, this is me at level 105. I thought, why not? Let's do a max character without any of the ascension levels, without any of the chibi levels, exploring out levels, etc. Right? Do you need to ascend to get the max 75 levels out of a Reaper. And we get a 197. No. So you do need to have ascended and gotten everything for you to get all 75 levels on a Reaper now. 197. So there you go, folks. That's confirmed. But you might be thinking, well, that's a bit naff, innit? Like, I don't get the full 75 levels anymore. But there's something else, of course, we've forgotten. Using our trusty new Bob's Gene Extractor, we can see that this Reaper has the quick-hitting trait, gene trait, right? If you don't know what that is attack speed of basic attacks increased by 2.5% and damage of basic attacks reduced by 5%, right? But the thing is, every Reaper that I birth out of that goes into every offspring. All of these have that gene. So what we're going to do using this gun is we're going to take out the trait, that one, and this one, giving us 5 of those same traits, right? Get ourselves Pregante once again. Perfect. There we go. Giving us that 227 again, which is great to see. Alright, now all we're going to do, once it's hit juvenile, which should be any second now. There we go, it's juvenile now. Those 5 traits that we've got, which you can only inject into babies as far as I'm aware, which already has 1, so I didn't need to get 4, but never mind. I'm now going to move over all of the traits from the other Reapers that I don't need. Which only allows me to stack 3 times, it seems. So it does seem there's a limit on how many of the same trait you can do. But obviously, if I had 2 more traits of a different Reaper, maybe that would work. I'm guessing there's a limit on using the exact same trait. Nevertheless, on top of its natural reduction, now has, I'm hoping, a stacking 15% damage reduction on top. Oh, hang on. It's not incoming attacks, is it? It's outgoing attacks. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, you know, it could be worse. Kind of messed up there then. However, you get my drift, right? With so many traits available, including, there's one called Fatty that reduces the damage taken based on food stat. So if you just literally level these things in pure food, I gotta test this, ain't I? I've got to test this. We've now got a load of fatty traits, as well as some others that I'm going to show you in a minute, which feels like it could actually be pretty beneficial. We're going to take out the quick hitting buff because it's pants. We're going to put in the fatty, and hopefully we can put in 3 like we could with the quick hitting. We can. And we've got an option here of either doing that one, which allows us to deal additional damage to larger targets, but we want some defense stuff, right? So we're going to use the numb trait, which is a very interesting one, but interestingly, I can only do only 1. So there seems to be a limit on how many you're allowed to do of certain ones. Numb, you're only allowed 1 with. Fatty, you're allowed to stack 3. Giant slaying seems to be 1 as well. Okay, fine. Well, there's our 5 traits in our new Reaper now, right? So now, for every point in food, it's going to get a 0.10%. It's going to get a 0.10 armor increase. But hopefully that's going to stack 3 times. As well as a damage reduction by 25%. But it will take 25% more damage over the next 5 seconds and alternate. We might as well just pump it purely in food and see what happens here, right? So we've got all our 88 levels. Leveling this thing in pure food, dude. Let's see how big of a difference that makes. Reaper biting us on this Reaper, biting us 44, right? But on this Reaper, don't forget though, it's going to change every 10 seconds. But when it's on the right 10 seconds, what is it? So 28. Bite me again. 15! Woo! Woo! 15! Do the math there, man. 44 to 15. That is a significant reduction. That's a 66% reduction on this Reaper now. It's got a 66% reduction. Holy hell! And that's why they've introduced this thing, right? So don't forget, this thing already has an 80% damage reduction. Now, on top of that, it has another 66% reduction. This is why this buff has been put in place, mate. Has been put in place. We might be seeing a certainly new way of tanking, and of course there's other ways to tank without a doubt. Traits are big. I keep telling you, I'm going to do a guide on it soon. So until then, my name is Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, peace out.